Hello there, beautiful sacred hearts. Monica Bermudez, an intuitive quantum energy healer. I'm back for another love wisdom this week, the second week of the year of 2022 in January, and I want to talk about the love wisdom in relation to being in your presence, in your heart presence, and kind of touching on this as well as sharing 3 sacred keys for how to be in the present moment and why this is so important, and how the energies have also been shifting so much into they're all over the place. So something to be aware of, to be conscious of the energy. For instance, I've been seeing trends and some form of victim energy that we could easily fall into these traps, into these little holes here and there, and so they can just come around and not even be aware that we're doing it. And I've been falling into this trap as well. Sometimes I do run into this myself, but I quickly become very conscious and aware that it's there and shift it into this creative energy. But the key is being into the heart presence, and I say using your heart energy and using that energy of that presence to keep you in this now moment of things, and how that can also help you from shifting out of the illusion of this reality that we find ourselves buried into the challenges and what's going on. Because when we fall into this victim energy, we can easily fall into a worry, fall into anxiety attacks, into a lot of stress. And so that's why it's so important that I share these 3 sacred keys with you to help you as tools, as ways, as a guidance into shifting that, using the power of the presence within your own heart and your own love energy. And so presence in definition has to do with being aware. And so it is an aspect of the awakening as well. So the more presence that you are, and bringing in more of your own awareness and your own mindfulness, is also triggering and activating more of your awakening, which then leads into this activation of your own ascension. But when you fall into these victim energies, you remain stuck into these little pockets of stuck energy, and your vibrational frequency gets lowered as well. So it just becomes very down, the energy, that you feel so burned out and so exhausted at times as well, because it is very energy draining to be in a victim energy. And so that's why it's so important to pay attention to when you start to fall into that trap. And for example, if you are looking at the past of something that happened and overanalyzing it, that's also falling into that trap of the victim energy, and overanalyzing something about what may have happened before in some trauma, and just being stuck with that trauma from the past. And somebody did something, or you were in a really bad situation, or a bad relationship, bad romantic relationship, or some other relationship with a friend or a family member, and it's just there's so much that is heartbreaking. And then just dwelling too much on it is also going to continue to keep that heartbreaking pattern itself and that energy stuck in your heart. But that has a rippling effect across your whole body. It's not just in your heart. So it does impact every other aspect of your body itself in regards to this energy and the flow of the energy. And it just disconnects you from your intuitive side, disconnects you from your other chakras, and it disconnects you from your main flow of energy that it brings this greater awareness for you. And the same thing would happen, for example, if you're thinking about the future. If you're wondering, okay, what are my next steps, and overanalyzing that as well. What do I do in this case? And just worrying too much to the point that you're overthinking it so much that at night you can't sleep. And so that's, an example of also creating a form of anxiety based on a worry or based on thinking about too much or over-analyzing as to what it is that you're going to do next. And it just stays too much in your head. And that also disconnects from the heart as well. And that is also another form of a bit of a victim energy itself. And so when we come into the presence moment, coming into our own heart and keeping into the presence, we're also stepping into our own creative energy, creative force of energy, into this awakening and becoming aware and consciously aware. And then when we start to do that, we start to open up this flow of energy, of the creative energy, because to be creative energy is in a flowing energy itself. And so you're just allowing this energy to flow within you, within your own heart, to really tune into your own intuition and what will come naturally to you. And that is when ideas and solutions start to come in that moment. So now I just want to share 3 sacred keys to help you stay in the present moment if you find yourself drifting into these other energies as a victim energy, and you find yourself out of body into not feeling so present. But if you find yourself stuck in the past timeline, you find yourself stuck in the future timeline, and just become aware of that and just bring yourself back together. So the number 1 sacred key is to be mindful of your own breathing and how you're breathing, and just taking several deep breaths. And the moment that you start to do that several times, is also keeping you in the present moment as well, because you're focused on your breathing. See, you're focused on something in this moment, and you're doing it very consciously yourself. And so the second sacred key that also helps is that whatever you're doing around the house, it could be just something really simple, right? Like washing dishes, for instance. Say if you just want to focus on washing those dishes itself, and just paying attention to every little aspect of what you're doing. And it could be just any type of ritual that you're doing on a daily basis. But the more that you become very mindful and heartful, paying attention also to your heart energy as you're doing things, the more that you practice this, the more that you start to become more into your own presence, into that, moment, to whatever it is that you're doing. And so the last sacred key that is very important, that pretty much ties in a lot of all of these other things, because it also includes the breathing, is to practice meditation on a daily basis. Meditation has infinite amount of benefits to it, tons of benefits. And one of them is that it does build on your presence, and it builds on your focus of this now moment, and being focused, on the things that you're doing. And so the more that you practice it, the more natural then you start to build this awareness that also builds into your awakening. And so these are 3 sacred keys that are so important to put into practice. They're a tool, they're a guidance to assist you with what's going on right now, and to be very mindful and pay attention, very heartful to any type of victim energy. Because what I've noticed is that when we fall into this victim energy, pay attention to how your heart feels. It feels like it's very knotted. That's the way I remember it. And so when it starts to get very knotted, it just feels heavy. It feels like it goes, doesn't want to open or expand. So it's another form of closing the heart. So by doing some of these guidelines, of practicing some of these present moment tools and guidance, and these are just a few of many that you could do, right? But the more that you start to practice more of being into this presence, it helps you also expand your heart and open your heart, and just allow more of this creative flow of energy to come in. So this is another aspect also of just surrendering and having this trust in your own higher guidance to really step into yourself and really step into who you are. Really, this is you, this is your divine birthright, to have this higher self divine connection within yourself, to always be in this flow of this intuition, of this heart power energy that you have. So you deserve to have a very open heart, an expanded heart. And the reason why so many people don't have it as open or expanded is because of so much stuff that's been buried from so many lifetimes, including this lifetime, where we think that we have healed so much, of our heart. And you may have, but sometimes like it gets swept under the rug and some of it gets buried. And I call it heartbreaks, because they're like little tiny instances within the cell itself that get buried at a subconscious level if they're not taken care of, and they just get hidden. But by doing some of these tools and these guidance helps to unpack and bring up and unravel some of that stuff, because sometimes with this whole victim energy, a lot of that gets stirred as well. But then it also keeps your energy stuck in that moment to wherever you find yourself. Could be in the future, it could be in the past timeline, but everything really just happens in the present moment. Even all the timelines come together in that present moment. And where we're heading right now into this future, we're in 2022 and things are just so accelerated with time right now. I mean, this is like the second week of January and it feels like it's flown already. And where we're heading with all this, the ascension energy, is really stepping more into your own presence in a moment and being more in your own heart and being the heart presence and having this sacredness within you of your own holiness and just holding that space within yourself. And so I hope that this has been very useful to you. And I am planning to be posting some more videos on my YouTube channel, so be on the lookout for them. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, please subscribe and like and share with others who can also benefit from this message. But so I come on Facebook Live every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and share a different channel love wisdom message that comes from the heart, that feels the right timing to be shared at this time, with others tuning in to the energy of the collective and what the heart is asking to share at this time. So I look forward to connecting with you in the next love wisdom message, and I'm sending you all so much love. Bye for now.